All right, guys, welcome back. Episode 2 of the WRPF podcast. I'm your host, Alex Uslar. Today, I have Travis Rogers. He is on staff for the WRPF. He is a friend of mine. He's someone who I wanted to have on my previous podcast that I did, and we never got around to it. And here we are now. A lot has transpired over the last 4 or 5 months that has brought me and Travis even closer together on staff for the WRPF. Travis and I also have a lot of similarities in our journey to sobriety and getting into fitness. I've never heard that story before. I'm very curious to hear it. Travis has talked about it on other podcasts before. So we won't dive too deep into it, but we'll definitely touch on a bit of it. And yeah, Travis, welcome. I'm really excited to have you, man.
Cool, man. I'm super glad to not only be on the podcast, but of course be on the board, the group, the main guys, whatever you want to call us now that we're all together here on the WRPF, man. I'm really excited about it.
It's been a very fast moving last couple of months. And I think we've done, as a new team together, a great job navigating it. The first episode of the podcast, you haven't even heard it yet. It's not out yet.
No,
It's
no,
released
yeah.
tomorrow. Yeah, I'm trying to keep weekly podcasts, pumping content out. A lot of people have been messaging us on the Instagram, like, okay, you guys are posting a lot of rules. You guys are posting a lot of this, that, and the other. They want some more fun, some lighthearted shit. So we're like, let's throw together this podcast.
No, I'm totally about it. And especially like not only like getting to know us and like what we're trying to do for the future of like the WRPF and the lifters involved, but also like bringing some important discussions about like rule book changes, potential rule book changes, the way things are misread or mislabeled as far as rules go. Like there's just so much stuff you can talk about to broaden that horizon for lifters.
Exactly. And just to give you listeners kind of an idea of the calendar that I have laid out for this podcast, we're going to be doing weekly releases every Wednesday at noon. There'll be some sprinkled in probably every 4 or 6 episodes, a solo episode of just me talking about different federation updates. We're going to do Q&As on the Instagram where you guys can ask questions and I'll direct them on that episode. About once monthly, we'll have a staff member on an episode. So Travis was the first staff member that I wanted to bring on board because he's done a lot over the last couple of months to help our referee program. Travis's former title for the WRPF, he's the referee chairman. He absorbed that role. I passed that role on to him. And he's been killing it so far. So we'll touch on that a little bit as well when we get to the second half of the episode where we jump into things in the federation, growing of the federation, and Travis's position. But Travis, I'd love to hear just a little bit about you and where you started. What first got you into fitness? Did you play sports growing up? Where did it kind of begin?
So I briefly played sports growing up. I was always really big and active. Like I grew up on a farm. We had a lot of woodland. Like I was always like climbing trees. I was hunting. Like I was very big in the outdoors. But not like necessarily sports per se. I played soccer on some travel teams for quite a while. But never anything with weightlifting. It was always like soccer. Later on in high school, I ran track and cross country. So like I was a thinner, faster guy. Very contrary to how I am now. I don't really run
What
anymore
what did you weigh?
um shoe man. I'd probably say like a buck 30, buck 40.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And now I'm
100
sitting at
pounds less, right?
yeah, I'm sitting at a very comfortable 225 right now. So
Nice.
and this meet coming up in June, I'm actually 8 weeks out. I'll be doing my first meet as a 220. So I'm excited about that.
Oh yeah.
But
Full track and
so
field.
yeah, running, track, things like that. I skated a lot. I biked a lot, like a lot of stuff like that. I was kind of a skate rat in high school for a while. I played a lot of music. I played guitar, bass, sang, played a lot of different things in different bands growing up, and was kind of in the music scene for a while. Um, but again, never really anything with fitness and things like that. Just active. But I really didn't get into weightlifting till um more so pushing into sobriety when I was in kind of like rock bottom in like college years. And then it really just kind of took place and gave me something to focus on. And it just kind of really escalated from there. I spoke briefly about this, and I don't mind talking about it again because it's somebody I like to remember because even though I don't get a chance to talk about him a whole lot, I had a buddy named Zachary Rector, who kind of took me in under his wing. He was a big dude, went to all boys military school. He was like 6'3", like 275, just a monster of a dude. And I was probably at that time maybe 120 pounds, and I was 23, maybe 120 pounds. And so I'd gotten into lifting. I just really started doing the basic three. I just started doing the basic three, just mostly machines and stuff like that. And we worked together, and he was like, "Hey, man, like, why don't you come to the gym with me? I'll show you a few things. You can tag along." So it was just me, this really tiny skeleton kid, dragging feet along this giant dude. And he was the kind of dude, like literally, like I know a lot of people would say this. People would literally go in the gym and throw like 3 plates on the bench, and just start knocking out like sets of like 10 and 15. Like he was a strong dude, and just built for it. So we made this deal, and he said, I was literally half his size. So he was like, since you're half my size, you have to do half my weight.
Oof.
So if he would rep 90-pound dumbbells, I had to do 45s.
And could
And
you?
so yeah. So
Bro,
I kept up.
that's nuts. Because I
Yeah,
remember when I started working out, I'm like you. I was 100 pounds less than I am now. So I'm like 270 right now. I was a buck 70 at 6'3". I was
yeah,
skin and bones. And I remember my first time going to the gym, I tried 95 pounds on the bench and got fucking collapsed.
bodied.
25s on each side. I was like, oh, can I start it with 10s and I could do a couple reps? But, oh, let me put 25s on. No. So you had
No,
it better
man.
than I did. But look at us now. Look at our benches now.
Yeah. So yeah, well, I mean, growing up on the farm, like, I mean, I was always like cutting grass and building stuff, and like we baled hay in the summer. So like I had a little bit of like farm boy strength going on. So I was tiny, but I wasn't made of nothing.
Gotcha.
Um, But that went well for a while, and I eventually put on some weight, got a little bigger, started drinking some like the old the giant blue tub, the old MHP up your mass.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
man, doing like 1,000 calorie shakes and stuff, like just trying to put on weight. And so I got a little bigger, and then he's like, "Okay, man, so now you got to do like, you know, 3/4 of my reps or 3/4 of my weight or 2/3 of my weight." And I eventually did that. And I kept getting stronger. And eventually, like some of his other bigger friends started taking notice, and they're like, "Yo, who's that little guy you go to the gym with? Like he's really strong for his size." And then a couple of them told me, they're like, "Have you ever considered powerlifting?" And I had no idea what that was. And they were like, "Well, you should like look up some local competitions and stuff." And I did. I signed up for one and ended up doing like the Mid Atlantic Classic out in Frederick, Maryland. Probably like 6 or 7 months later.
What year
And
was
that's
that?
how. Oh shoot. 2015,
Okay.
2014, 2015.
So you were 20, you got sober when you were 23.
Yes. Or yes, yeah,
So I
23.
think you're like a year after me. I got sober in
Yeah,
2012.
because January 21st will be my 10 years.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
yeah.
So that was 2014.
Yeah.
Nice.
Um and I think my first total was like maybe 1308 at like 175. So it's still pretty decent for your first meet for a little guy.
Yeah,
Um
mine was like 12 something at like 220. So you got me beat there. Yeah,
um
man.
but after I did the first one, man, Jess did it with me, and we both just got hooked, and we were like, we want to do this for like ever, or at least until we can't anymore. And so I think our next meet, we signed up for a one really far away. This was back when I said before drama, but before the drama's drama. Like this is way back when like USPA East was still together, and we did a intense attire. What was his gym called? CrossFit Intense, I think, up in West Virginia. So we drove like 7 hours to do like a little meet at Johnny Lane's gym. And that's actually where I met Zach Myers for the first time.
Oh yeah.
And like me and him became buddies and friends. And then lo and behold, like 5, 6 years later, he was the only one to beat me on day 2 for nationals. And then the next day after he beat me, he asked me to be his coach. So
What year
it was
nationals
kind
was
of a
that?
win. 2019, because 2018,
Okay.
everyone thought I was gonna win, and then I tore my VMO like the second squat in.
Was that still when it was at the Golden Nugget?
Yeah, that was in Vegas. That was my first time in Vegas, man.
Yeah,
Um,
I went to nationals and worlds, USPA, IPL, whatever you want to call it, in 2015, 2016, 2017. I went to Vegas 6 times, my friend. For,
Holy shit, that's
yeah, I
awesome.
had a client, I had a master's client, and if anyone has a master's client, you know how they are.
Yeah,
They got to go to worlds as
yeah,
a
they got
master,
to. It's the thing.
and get that medal. And so my client, he flew me out every time, got my hotel, everything.
Awesome.
So I got
I definitely want to go back out there. Me and Micah got a lot closer, and he is not just for the WRPF, but we've been closer for a couple years now. But blows me up and is like, "Yo, like, when are you and Jess gonna get your shit together and come out and stay with me and Steph?" So I definitely want to. It was really cool getting to see him at the pro and stuff. We hadn't seen each other in a long time, and then I ended up doing my first meet back, full power meet back from surgery. I did Freaks Come Out at Night. He hosted in Baltimore at Exile, and
right.
that was super fun meet. That was the that midnight meet. We were deadlifting at like 3 in the morning.
Yeah, it was nuts. That was nuts.
Yeah, it was pretty fun though. I'm not gonna lie, it was fun.
So let's backtrack a little bit. I have a couple of different talking points we'll touch on as we go. So take me back pre 2014. We won't go dive too deep into your sobriety, but it's something I'd love to touch on because it helps motivate a lot of people out there. I know you get those messages all the time. I get those messages all the time, and I
Yeah.
just want anyone that might be listening to this that's in powerlifting, struggling with addiction, struggling with sobriety. It's like you got two guys right here that overcame it. We got 10 years under our belt almost. So from what year to what year, kind of did you struggle, and what was your turning point?
It got really bad between see, I graduated high school in '08. So I would say from like 2009, 10-ish area to like 2013, 14 was my worst. That was kind of like rock bottom for me. I had a really bad breakup with a girl. We were going to go to college together. And then she kind of backed out last minute, broke up, found her with another dude. She took like all the stuff we had bought together for like the place we were putting a down payment on. So I was in a super bad headspace and I said, fuck it. And I moved and I went to college elsewhere. And I was a wreck, man. Like when I got there, like I didn't give a shit about anything. I didn't care about anything. I was day drinking all the time, like starting at like 10 in the morning. Like I didn't give a shit. My roommate, me and him are friends still now. But when we first met, he fucking hated my guts because he'd come home from work and I was just already bombed, like waiting for him at the apartment. And he'd be like, what the fuck did I get myself into? Because like he didn't know me from Adam. And I was just like his new roommate. And here he was every night coming home from a long day at work. And I'm just already shit house and like super aggressive and argumentative and breaking fucking shit. And of course, like in a college lease, like you basically just got to put up with my shit.
Right.
So his girlfriend fucking hated me. Like it was bad. I was a hot wreck. I was bad. Um, and then after him and her split up, me and him became better friends. And then I started getting into bars underage. And because he worked at like a craft brew place. So then he would take me in when he had shift drinks and we would just like go get fucking shit house together. And then of course, one thing led to another. And then I stumbled into like going to parties and finding drugs. And then that whole rabbit hole happened. And then I met a bunch of musicians and I still played guitar back then. So then we were playing parties for like drugs and alcohol. And then like, dude, it was fucking nuts, man. I didn't know what was up and what was down. I was just like fucking I wasn't even trying to make ends meet. I was just like partying and having a place to stay. And then I got to the point where I was like eroding some of my stomach lining and like pissing blood. And so like of course like, you know, I had to get that shit all checked out. And they were like, dude, like you need to fucking make a choice. You know, like you're literally pissing away your stomach lining. Like you're gonna fuck your shit up for good. And then one of these times there's not gonna be able to have a conversation about it. It's just gonna be fucking done with. And I mean, I think it sucks too, because I mean, I'm sure you know this and you can relate, like no matter how long you're sober after that, like you still can't undo some of those things
Oh
you did
yeah.
to your body. Years
Oh
later,
yeah.
it's still like, you know, when I get blood paneling done, I still have like fucked up liver enzymes and fatty liver tissue and like all kinds of shit like you can't get rid of now. Like it's, you know, it's just a fucking, it's one of those things. Um, but me and Jess had met when I was trying to get sober. And I was going longer stints of time. Like I would make it like 2 months and relapse, 3 months relapse, maybe like 6 months and then relapse. And like I just fucking couldn't do it.
That was me
And
for about 14, 16 months. It was just like
yeah,
killing it. Fuck. Stop
yeah,
drinking, kept popping pills, you know, like
yeah,
it was just like
yeah.
one evil for the other.
And I mean the working out during that time period helped obviously a lot because it allowed you to trade per se one addiction for another
Yep.
and find some solace in that. But um I remember we started dating and she just got out of the hospital for an overdose. So she was getting her shit together way better than I was. And she was like, you know, we really liked each other. And she was like, look, if we want to do this, like you gotta fucking stop because you're putting us both at jeopardy. Because I'm trying to do the same thing you are, and you refusing or you know keep relapsing, that's not gonna fucking work out. So I was like, all right, I gotta do this. And I remember like a month into it, I called her like blacked out fucking drunk. And that was the last time I drank, and that was January 21st, like 2014. And then I haven't drank since then. It's weird because I got a. It was weird because it was actually with that roommate.
Right.
We went and got we went and got tattooed together that night. So I have like a. It's weird because I never. You know how you like get a tattoo for a particular reason, and then like later on down the road, you still got it for that reason, but it changed meanings.
For sure.
Like
Yeah.
I never meant to get that tattoo. It's like, oh, well, I'm gonna get this tattoo because it's my last time ever drinking. But that's what it became to be. So
Right.
it's like one of those strange tattoos. It's like when people ask me about it, I'm like, I never really thought it would be that. And
Yeah.
it's like a really super old school traditional like geisha head with like a peacock on it, like very old school, like um Sailor Jerry type stuff. And it's just weird that I have it. And that's what, you know, every time I see it, it reminds me of that. Um, but
Yeah. Sometimes it just takes one of those massive kind of turning points. And, you know, I get that question all the time. And, you know, oh, what does it take? Like, how do you do it? How do you do it? You know, sometimes you slip, and you keep falling, but eventually it gets to that point where it's like, if you want something bad enough and if you have like a strong support system, you know, for some people that might be, you know, AA, NA, whatever the hell it was, whatever the hell it is, it might be a significant other. For me, it was, I had gone to the gym a little bit on and off like a regular LA fitness gym. And then I found this CrossFit gym and my ex boss, he was an ex heroin addict. He had like 6 years sober underneath him. And I was able just to like have that figurehead over me, just like kind of like forcing it. And it just became that turning point where it's like
it was
once you
like
like,
your unofficial sponsor.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And you know, without actually needing to go through something like that and just the mental willpower of wanting it bad enough, you know, but when you have like that true motivation where you've just kind of fallen, and it's like, you know, where now, you know? But I definitely think that having the gym kind of helps, and then obviously that support system as well.
Yeah. And I think it really made me form my habits of liking things for the long run. Like I really enjoy things that take an absurd amount of time now.
Yeah.
And like I know you can relate to this because like fuck you're probably as close or more along than me. How close are you having a full tattooed bodysuit?
The only thing I'm missing is hands, neck, and chest.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you're pretty fucking far too. And I was like, I think I really like it was weird because I was getting tattooed before I got sober. And then of course I kept getting tattooed. I've probably been getting tattooed for probably a little over a decade now. And like I don't know, it became one of those things where like you really appreciated it more in your sobriety because like it's just one of those other like long-term things you witness changes about yourself in. You know what I mean? And
Sure.
you forget it. You forget it. And it's just like lifting. It's just like changing body composition. Like it makes you aware of things like anything worth having takes sacrifice and like extreme amounts of time. And so I was like, well, I want to change everything about me. I want to get strong. I want to look like this. I want to have a bodysuit. Like I want to accomplish all these like super long-term things that you have to like do extreme shit for.
Yeah, man.
And I just became like I love that, man. Like I'm about to get rid of the rest of the bottom of my beard and do like up under my chin line and shit. I want the turtleneck for summer, man.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, so yeah. And I mean I've had my hands once I had tenure at the high school. Like so once you get so long you're in there and like, you know, you get less observations and they know you're a good teacher and like, you know, they don't check on you as frequently. Once you get tenure, um, and then I did my hands and I did my neck and then I started doing my head and now I have ones on my, you know, little ones on my face. Like
That's
it's
sick.
just
That's
wow.
funny because I always told myself, I started with my legs, my arms, I didn't start getting till I literally had full leg sleeves, my stomach, my back.
Really?
Yeah. I did everything else first, just because I've always been like a very cautious, paranoid person. Like I have like imposter syndrome to an extent, that I'm like, is this really my life? All the time. Like, am I gonna slip? I'm sure you even have those dreams of like fucking relapsing and fucking up, and your
Yeah.
life goes to shit. You know what I mean? So I was always like, as I was building my career, because I started a career in fitness when I was 19, turning 20. And
Mhm.
I built myself up pretty quickly in that career. By the time I was 21, I was working very full time in this gym, making pretty good money. I think when I was 22 is when I started tattooing my arms. By the time I was like 24, finished my sleeves. And I always told myself when I'm not going to tattoo my hands or anything until I'm like very established in life, you know?
No,
And
that's like the same idea I had for being tenure. Like as you
yeah,
were really established as a teacher, like I'm like, okay, now it's time to make that move.
but so okay, years go by. I work for this huge company. I was making good money in this huge company that I worked for, and I was like, things just still don't feel right. Things still don't feel right. Last year, after I had quit, opened my own gym, have all my other clothing companies, my wife's pregnant, life is super stable. Those feelings of imposter syndrome are kind of behind me. I'm like, all right, now's the time. I'm gonna tattoo my hands. Text my tattoo artist, make an appointment for like 3 or 4 months later. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna bang out both of them in the same day. 24 hours later, I canceled the appointment. I don't know.
No way.
It's like I just haven't had it for so long, and I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm not ready, if I don't want it, or what it is. But yeah, I haven't
Oh,
gotten tattooed. Besides, I got an X behind my ear last year. That was my only tattoo in like 2.5, 3 years, because I've been completely.
wait. You have your 10-year X?
Yeah. I
Dude,
got
no way, because
foot.
that's I'm literally waiting to do the other side like symmetrical over here. I'm
Hell
waiting
yeah,
the whole rest of the way so I can get my X.
hell yeah, dog.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, I just didn't go through with it. All right, so not to get too sidetracked, let's backtrack a little bit. So okay, 2014 got sober. I want to kind of tie in your profession with you then opening a gym. So your profession, you just touched on it. You have your 10 years as a professor. So that's what you went to school for, right? You're a history teacher.
Well, no, so I originally went to high school. I originally went to college to be a writer.
Okay.
And so it ended up like I got this really good scholarship that they only accepted like seven of us. But the deal was is they would give us a stipend and pay for our master's degree if we taught freshman English at the college.
Okay.
So it was like we were basically like the college's like freshman English bitch. Like all the
Okay.
tenured professors who had PhDs are like, we don't want to teach freshman composition. That's bullshit. They want to teach like cool classes like Shakespeare and intro to poetry and like cool established stuff. And so they're like, you guys do this, and this is how you'll work it off basically. And so I got in that, and there was only 7 of us, and I would say within like halfway through that second semester of doing that, I was like, fuck, dude, like I I like this. I think I want to be a teacher. And that's exactly how I stumbled into it. It was totally by accident. And
That's
so now I teach 10th grade and 12th grade English.
okay. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I like that. So that was around 2012, 2013 when you started doing that?
Masters was probably like 2014 because I think I was 23 or 24 when I graduated with my master's.
Okay. Very cool.
I have a master's in British literature. Go
So then
figure.
all this is kind of happening in conjunction at the same time where you're finding
Yeah,
sobriety, finding the gym,
yeah,
starting this new career, figuring out this is the career path you want when you're getting your head more screwed on straight and you see things more clearly.
yeah.
So,
But as far
so
as like the gym goes, so I also taught strength and fitness at the high school and ran the after school powerlifting club.
okay.
Um,
You're already working there?
yeah.
Okay.
So I taught that for 4 years, and then we had a principal leave, and we had a giant budget cut. And when the giant budget cut happened, they cut some of the elective courses, like cool courses like strength and fitness, and like one of the culinary courses, and like more artistic and like find your career path type choices instead of like main core content courses. And so when they did that, I lost that class, and I taught a second level of English. So I did 10th and 12th instead of just 12th. And, I had been housing all this stuff I had bought the kids in the high school gym. So I had a deadlift platform. I had a fucking full sets of kilos for the kids. Like I had a Duffalo bar. Like I bought some nice ass shit with all my own money and brought it in there for the kids. And all the kids were like, if they're not going to help you and help fund this program, like you should find your own spot. So no joke, me and like 3 of my seniors started surfing Craigslist together, trying to find like a place to go. And we found this barn about 25 minutes away. And this guy had renovated these chicken coops into storage units with like concrete floors and everything. And the rent was cheap, man. It was like $500 a month. And it had no air, no bathroom, no HVAC, no nothing, dude.
Of course
And
not.
so yeah. So and this is like 2018. Um no, this is 2019 because that was the year we went to Ohio for nationals, not Vegas. The next year was Ohio. Um and I prepped for Ohio nationals in that barn, dude. And you want to talk about like a condition to make you a good lifter? You like self-wrapping your knees in a mono in like 100-degree weather in the summer in a chicken coop, dude. And then when you went to like a giant ballroom hotel lobby for nationals, you're like, dude, this is a fucking cakewalk. I can squat the shit all day because it's
Oh
like you're
yeah.
so used to extreme conditions, like no air condition, no bathroom. Like it was out by a field. We'd literally wipe our ass with corn husk stalks.
Nice.
Like it was fucking ghetto, dude.
Well, the gym that
It's
I
very,
trained in from 2012 till 2017 when I left to go work for Hybrid was a metal warehouse, but it was literally metal. So it was like a tin can. So
oh, it's like a fucking
it
oven.
was hotter inside than working out outside in the sun.
Oh my god.
So all my athletes that I prepped for nationals, worlds, et cetera, all those years that I went, it was the exact same thing. So I feel you on that.
Yeah,
I,
like so everyone did like they felt better because they were
oh
used to
yeah.
harsher conditions. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the winters were the same way, man. You'd be sitting around like a single plug-in heater, like steno bums, like blowing on your hands and shit while you're touching the deadlift bar. I always imagine that scene from the Christmas story where the kid sticks his tongue on the pole. Like I
Yeah.
always thought that was gonna happen to my fingers on a deadlift bar, and I just feel like someone have to pry the shit out of my hands.
I'll tell
But
you what, you kids listening, dude, don't take for granted all the combo racks that you have in your damn gym. Get mad when you have to share a combo rack with someone because literally we were in the corner of this CrossFit gym, my powerlifting club, with 2 squat racks, 2 Globo Gym benches, rusty plates, and a hot box. And you were in a goddamn barn. So you
Yeah, I
kids
remember we
nowadays,
ordered we ordered our first Texas Strength combo rack. It was like a blue and white one, and when we got it, dude, we just saw. I mean, we were in the middle of a fucking barn, but dude, we thought we were the hottest shit. We were
hell
just like,
yeah,
bro, look at this fucking sick combo, man. No one's got a combo like this. It was fun as fuck, but um, the funniest part was so like we had decorated the walls with like all the banners and posters and a lot of the original stuff you see in my gym now, like all behind me on the walls and stuff. And like I was so in love with that place. I was terrified when we bought a real gym. Like I was clinging to it desperately. Like I was so worried it would lose the feeling. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I was like, what if we go to this new place and it just doesn't feel the same? Like what if the energy and the camaraderie and like all the
right.
shit we built in this fucking barn isn't there? Like it's gonna suck. Like I'd take the fucking barn back. And so I was super paranoid over that. Like it was really hard for me to part with the barn, as stupid as that sounds. Um, but then we got this building here, and I've had this gym for 4 years now, and it was still during COVID. So this was some shit, dude. So we got this place in October, right?
Of
Um,
2020 or right before COVID,
yeah,
2019.
2019, right at the ass end of COVID. Because I was remember I was still we were doing online stuff for the high school because we weren't allowed to be in the building. Um, so I got this place, got the keys, and it was a single room. It was just the one side. And a lot of people haven't heard this story, so it's cool. We'll be able to talk about something new on the podcast.
Oh yeah.
Um, it's only like it's got 2 bathrooms. It's about 2,000 square feet. It was an old office building, and we gutted the whole thing. So there was like cubicles coming out of it. Like you could see the cuts in the carpet from where the
Yep.
cubicles were boxed in and everything.
Hmm.
So we had that side. We made that work for like a month, and the unit next to us, they were apparently trying to evict the guy, but it was COVID, so the rules in place they had to wait longer. You know what I mean? Because they had like some weird regulations with the state. So the maintenance guy let me go in there and just like look around to see if I really wanted it. It was the creepiest shit. This is the funniest fucking shit. Um, the whole place had never been painted, never been decorated, no nothing except for the biggest fucking grand piano you've ever seen, just sitting in the fucking middle of the warehouse side, like on the ceramic floor.
That was all that was in it.
It was this
All
huge
right.
piano. It's the weirdest shit. He's like, I don't know. And he's like this old redneck guy with a ponytail. He's like, just a piano in here. I'm like, what the fuck? So I talked to him. I was like, so where are the people? And he was like, this is creepy. He's like, they went back to Transylvania.
Sick.
Yeah, right. So I was like, so your renters were from Transylvania. They just rented the place, didn't pay anything, and just went back across the water and left the piano. He's like, yeah,
I'll take it. And can I keep the piano?
yeah. So, so the owner wouldn't let us keep the piano. He wanted to sell it, so he at least make some of the money he lost back because they just fucking dipped and he
Disappeared.
was losing. Yeah. So we punched a hole in Unit D into Unit C into a huge cutaway and merged the two sides, and that was in. So let's see, October, November. We hosted our first fucking meet here in December.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hell yeah.
yeah. And
That's
there's pictures
the
of us
next
in a
talking
huge.
point I
Yeah,
want
it
to
was a
get
sold
into.
out event, and everyone's wearing fucking masks during the whole fucking thing.
Oh yeah.
I even had the health board call us because the sheriff's department is like 2 minutes down the street, and I was like, bro, we're totally gonna get fucking busted. Like, there's some police cars up here. The nicest lady fucking called me. She had checked out the Facebook post and shit for it. Called it. I told her all the regulations we were following. She's like, "Oh, that's great, honey. You guys have a great holiday."
Nice.
It went off without a hitch. I don't know how, but that was the very first no luck needed we had here. And this December is gonna be no luck 4. So I'm
Nice.
like fucking super excited, man.
Hell yeah. So we got the history building up to the gym. When did you start getting involved beyond just being a coach? right? So you obviously you coach the kids that evolved into you, opening the gym. When did you start getting involved in federations as an official and decide, man, I want to be a meet director?
So that was before we had the gym. That was still back in the barn days. Me and Jess were both state level refs for Johnny Lane for USPA East. This is before like the big scandal broke out. I remember the day it broke out. Jess called me crying, and she was like, "Have you seen Instagram? Have you seen this shit?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So Johnny had just formed the USPC.
Right.
A lot of us trusted refs that were super tight on his team. He had asked us, he's like, "Hey, if I do this, will you guys be my state chairs? Will you guys help me head it? I'll let you have a bigger position." And at the time, because we had everything hidden from us. So I don't want people to hear this and get it twisted. Because he had kept this from all of us. None of us knew. And so he was basically dangling a carrot in front of us, but we didn't know what it was fucking tied to.
There's a fucking alligator behind it
Yeah.
about to bite your fucking head off.
Yeah,
You eat it.
exactly. So we were
Yeah.
all like, dude, like, yeah, I mean,
You're
Johnny
our
was like,
boy. We'll support you. Why don't
yeah,
you
I
do
mean, dude,
something
he got
different?
me into
Yeah.
reffing. He got me into powerlifting. Like, he was like my powerlifting, like dad, like my guy. Like, he taught me everything I knew about reffing and shit and showed me the in and outs of meets. And was that way for a lot of us, and all of us really trusted him. So when that happened, dude, it was fucking heartbreaking. Like it was like a personal level for us. Like we were really upset over it. Um, but I called him and I was like, dude, like I'm a fucking teacher. I own a children's charity. I was like, I can't have anything to fucking do with this. And I told him, I said, dude, I need you to pull all my logos, all my sponsors off your banners. Like it's done. And uh that was hard for me and Jess. It was hard for a lot of us. Just because like we were so tight as like a team. And I had been signed up for a meet at Tyson's playground that he was going, and I guess he had people sign contracts with his company instead of the USPA. So when the owner tried to refute it, they pulled contract cards on him, and the meet still had to happen under USPC.
Oh, wow.
So, and this actually ended up being the first ever USPC meet. So as we're driving to the USPA meet, people are DMing me and like, Travis, this is getting switched. I'm like, what are you talking about? And they showed me all the shit. So it switched feds, USPA, USPC, USPA, like 4 times before we even got to the fucking hotel. So by the time we got there, we didn't even know what fed it was. We didn't even know if it was going to happen. And I'm sitting in the truck next to a really close friend of mine, Kyle, and it was his very first meet. And I was like, dude, like I don't want to see all your. We had prepped in the fucking barn together. I was like, I don't want to see all your hard work go to waste. Like I know how much this means to you, like how much it means to me to see you compete for the first time, like as my boy. Like he was so excited, and so like I had people message me, and they're like, if you pull out of this, a lot of people are gonna pull out of it. And so we just kind of made the hard choice of like, I don't want to see other people's hard work go to waste, and we fucking did the meet anyway. And it ended up being my first 1900 raw total. And he would have been like one of the first people to celebrate that with me. And we didn't even fucking talk or look at each other the whole meet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's another case of the unfortunate scenarios of people's true colors coming out, people that you think that and then you see all these things that have been withheld at you. But it's like, man, it's like part of life, right? Like I've become desensitized to a certain extent where how people can come into your life, have such a prominent position in your life, and like just like that, it can be pulled out from underneath your feet.
Yeah.
Whether it's your fault, their fault, no one's fault. It's happened to me so many times, and whether it's an action that person did or whether it's the decision you make and that person takes it personally. It's like I've gone through so many evolutions of people that are close to me that, are gone. My wife is like all the time, like, how does it not affect you anymore? It's like, man, it's just like, it's one
You're
of
like numb to it.
you're numb to it. It's one of the things of life. And it's like, you understand that it's like family is forever. No one else is, you know what I mean? And yeah, no, that's crazy. But it's another also scenario where then that an unfortunate scenario gave you somewhat of an opportunity to
Yes.
fill a hole for the lifters to give them that place where they feel safe. Funny, something else that also just happened recently, where they feel safe and they can continue what they know under you and your team, correct?
Yeah, because everyone was like, well, what's everybody gonna do that's remaining USPA? And then we were still in the barn, and me and Jess had been talking about looking at other places anyway. And everyone basically looked at me and her were like, it's gotta be you.
Yeah. Yeah, you have all
And
the
so
equipment, you have the know-how, you have the
so then
organization.
like a month later, I think no joke, at that meet, I signed the lease from the fucking hotel room digitally.
Nice.
And then when we got home, we had a fucking building and I got a key.
That's sick.
So, and then I think a month later, I took the state chair and the positions with USPA.
That's
And
sick.
so, yeah, man. And then, so like you said, like it was a super heartbreaking, like unfortunate circumstance. And, you know, it sucked. But at the same time, it opened a lot of doors for me to like see what was done wrong and how I could do it better and go along and make something better for the lifters in this region. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's exactly where as we transition. So you had those 3 years, 3.5 years as a meet director for the USPA under your belt. You'd been an official for longer than that. It's like I knew who you are. We started meeting like 2021, 2022, whenever we met for the first time at Kate's meet that you were judging at.
Yeah, it was the
And
charity meet, never alone.
yeah, exactly. So you had built kind of that expertise, that know-how, and then obviously everything that happened, 3, 4 months ago. Another very similar scenario to that all
Yeah.
over again. Which you guys who are listening, you heard me touch on that, give you guys some of the details of that in that first episode. And Travis was one of the first people as all that was happening. He also was one of the only people that had already experienced something very similar to that and had been involved in something similar to that. All the other meet directors who we spoke to from all over the other areas of the United States didn't have that same thing. But obviously, a lot was going through your head because you're like, man, this has happened before in this
Yeah.
area, and
It
it's like,
sucks. Like the first thing we're like, fuck, dude, we've already been through this once. Like I don't yeah, I didn't want to have to do it again, but ultimately again, same thing happened. Like look at the doors that have opened and like how now as a different team, like we're trying to push through and make things better for, not only the lifters in my region, but now I have a lot more handle on saying things to try to make it better for a lot of lifters. You know what I mean?
exactly. That's something that it was so important for me from day one being involved, and something that was so fresh and like helpful that honestly the WRPF is a federation in its infancy for the most part here in the United States. There we were building it from the ground up with a good solid foundation, and then overnight we had to freaking build this, a full building, but we were able to bring all these people on in these positions, and it's like right away I was functioning in multiple roles, doing multiple things, and our referee program was kind of, we didn't truly have a proper referee program. And I knew right away, like the person who I wanted involved for that was you. Knowing you, knowing your position, your expertise to help us build, that foundation and that proper framework. So go ahead and just tell everyone a little bit of what you've been doing the last couple of months, what we've implemented, and we'll kind of go from there.
So basically when I came onto the WRPF, I came on as a meet director and the Maryland Delaware state chairman, which is what I held in both the USPA and a higher level referee. But my new position is more working with the other members of the team and designating and exploring like the needs of the lifters, but more so the needs of like how can we make these experiences better for them through the rule book and through the referees. So my biggest concern was I don't want bodies in chairs, right? I don't want, refs making terrible calls. I don't want refs who are letting everything fly, but I don't want like overly strict refs either. Like we want quality in the chairs for all lifters all over the place. And one of the biggest things I talked with even Garrett too, one of the examples I brought up to him, we did I think that was one of the few ones you weren't at. It was the Ghost Cup up in, was it Indiana? Maybe it was at Indy Barbell.
Okay.
Um, and he flew me and Jess out there for two of his national refs. And we were out there with Doug and Candy, who are also now, they've been part of WRPF for longer than us. Um, and my first thought was like, and I actually even gave a practical that weekend to a new ref, but we looked around and we're like, dude, like, look how fucking good this team is. Like, look how great this ref team is. Like, how awesome would it be to have teams at this level all over the place? And so, like, whenever I think about like how I want a ref team to be or how I want the ref's experience level to be, I always kind of think back to that meet and how it's surrounding me and how much easier it was with everybody's job because everyone was on the same page and everyone was of a high caliber and experience level and wanted not only that for their team, but they wanted to showcase that and be there for the lifters. And I think that's an equally important part. I think a lot of people want to be referees just to be referees, but don't truly understand what it means to be there to not only just enforce the rules, but make the lifter experience the best it possibly can.
I agree.
So what
I think that was, just not to interrupt you too much, I think that was a big hole that was missing and is missing in a lot of other federations, that pretty much anyone who wants to get a t-shirt or polo can get a polo. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And like the process to go through it isn't that difficult. So, a lot of people are like, we have a lot of applications coming in right now for new referees, and a lot of them are failures. Then they'll have to wait a period to retest. And it's us, our intentions doing that isn't to, exclude people. It's to ensure that we're building the best possible standard that we can. Something else that we're implementing that we've talked about that, you as athletes might not know, or, might not understand fully, is terms as a meet director. You have a certain period of time that you can be a meet director, and then it's revisited if you can continue being a meet director. And that's where kind of Garrett comes into play. And the importance of that is, from what we've seen and what you've experienced, is it's like these bodies in chairs, whether they've been in chairs for way too long and are stuck on old standards or whatever it may be, or they weren't trained well. And then that's where there's just such an inconsistency across the board. Am I right?
exactly. And we, like you said, we want to raise the standard and raise the consistency. We want our teams to be well put together. And I mean, there's ideal teams I've seen already that are holding that standard, and I really want that for everybody. Because like an example I would use is I would hate for someone to come to one of my meets, whether it's be at my own gym or one of the ones we host all through Maryland and Delaware, and be like, hey, man, this ref team, super on point. That staff was amazing except this person and that person, right? You never want that. You want it as a unit. You want it as a team. You don't want everyone's great and a couple specs over here that don't seem to belong, right? And I want to make sure that's the standard for all teams, right? Not just my team down here. So one of the things I've been doing to enforce that is, of course, we had some refs have to retest. We're enforcing practicals now that have to sit with more experienced level practical issuers and higher level referees. We have level 2 referees coming into play. We're also making and revisiting different charts and standards to allow referees to log their meets in advance based on the requirements to become a higher level ref. So we have some push and need and want for other referees to continue to raise their own standards and challenge themselves to make it so they can do big meets like the pro, like nationals, and be accountable on a bigger platform like that. And I just really want to see, like, I mean, honestly, we've already visited. The big thing I want to see is not just bodies and chairs, man. And it sucks because I think one of the things people don't think about as a referee is like, no matter how good you are, you have to be able to understand like there's going to be heat, right? I mean, I've gotten heat at our meets. Like we've had we had a world record pass with 2 national level refs, and I was the only one that threw a red light on it, and it should have been red lights all around, and that went to pass. And of course, when that does, it's not disputed, and it goes to open powerlifting. And then of course, like, not only does that jeopardize like the Fed, but it's like your home base meets, like your team that was there, right? People start to get this idea that like, oh, well, I know where this team refs. I know what venues they occupy. Like we should avoid those, right? And I don't want that for anybody across the WRPF, right? Um, we had issues. Our first WRPF meet we hosted, we had people say some of the deadlift calls were too strict that a world record got turned down. So I've had ones passed and people got mad. I've had ones, flunk and get really mad. And you have to understand, like, there's gonna be blowback no matter what it is, because at the end of the day, you have to hold the standard to your best ability, despite who's gonna be happy with the call or who's gonna be upset about the call.
It's like you can't win, right? With the internet, people are either
Yeah, no, really, you
on
can't. That's a
one
good way to
side
put
or
it.
mad on the other, but we don't care. We're doing what we think is right to progress the sport in a proper way. And for people listening, it's obviously people have commented, "Oh man, to become a judge, I have to compete." Yes, we do think this is important for you to properly understand the sport and what goes into a meet. To be a meet director, I don't have it all listed in front of me, but we came up with a lot of criteria and a lot of criteria that's different in order to be in these positions. It's like you should have experience spotting and loading. You should have spotted and loaded meets, like people who think they can just jump into a polo and give back that way, give back in those other ways, because it's also going to give you valuable knowledge and eyes on the platform and time under the platform besides you just sitting down and doing a practical. So like for people listening that want to get involved, start with those other things. You can still get involved and don't feel like you just need to get that polo as a position of power or something like that. Do it with the right intentions and do it understanding that, it might be a difficult journey to get there. And it's not our intentions to push people away just because we want things done the right way. Right.
No, I 100% agree with that. That was very well put. And I want people to, be able to, again, like you said, be on both sides of the platform. I think it's very important to not only you as an official, but it helped me grow as a lifter, as a competitive lifter myself, right? You start to see all these different vantage points from whether you're staffing as a spotter or a loader, whether you're a meet director, whether you're a referee in a chair, whether you're an actual competitive lifter. You get to see all these different avenues and corners of the platform that you might not have been aware of. And so ultimately, it just makes you better at all those positions, being able to fulfill any of those positions.
Yeah, exactly. So, with the last thing that I kind of want to touch on and close on, so we got in your current role, everything that has snowballed over the last few months that we've been able to implement in, practically overnight. All this really started happening end of January, early February, and here we are just in April, and we've already put into play tons of new framework, tons of new things, standards, ways for people to get involved, obstacles for people to get involved. What other things do you kind of have as a vision for the future in your position in the WRPF, or even just your position in your gym and as a meet director?
For my gym, I'm trying, like I said before, I'm trying to expand, man. I
Another
really want to,
unit. Yeah.
yeah, man, I want to bring more people here because I think, and not to like toot my own horn because I'm not like that, but a lot of people come to our meets like we don't have the biggest gym, and I know you feel this too. You don't have the biggest gym, but it becomes something special in that atmosphere, and people start to travel not for the gym, not for you, but for that atmosphere. Like when people see our videos on Instagrams, when they see YouTube recaps, like it looks like a fucking concert in here, and people want that experience, right? It's high energy, it's fun. We throw theme meets, like we decorate, like people like that kind of stuff. It's not just a bullshit thrown together money grab where the meet director walks away and pockets all the money. Like we give all the money back. Like, fuck, dude, our last team good guys, I spent $3,000 out of my own pocket to pay for kabuki bars just to give them away for free at the meet. And I know more than anyone you understand about giving money out of your own pockets for the lifters. So um I think a lot of people miss that aspect of a meet director and as an official, and like how much, if you care about the sport, you have to be willing to like give back. And when I say give back, it's money, it's time, it's
Yep.
hardship, it's
And people don't
fucking,
understand that everyone who wants to become a meet director wants to run pro level meets. 10 out of 10 don't
yeah,
recommend running pro
yeah,
level meets.
do not
My
recommend.
my venue for the Ghost Clash cost $28,000. You know what I mean? So it's like those things add up and people don't see those things, you know?
Yeah,
So
it's tough, man. But I mean, for the future of the sport and the WRPF, like I'm excited to see it grow. I'm excited to see our drug tested division grow and become just as popular as some of the other tested divisions. I'm excited to see us work more with split sessions. I've never hosted a split session meet before, so I'm super excited to do my first couple. And I know I'm going to be learning from some people that have. So, of course, like I never think I know too much. I never am, pushing away an opportunity to learn. I'm actually going to be doing a write up soon on that for Elite FTS. I actually got something I was super excited because I told you, I went to
Congratulations on
college
that, man.
to
I
be.
saw
Thank
that.
you. I was like
Oh
I said,
yeah.
I went to college to be a writer. So for that all to kind of come full circle and me be able, be a featured columnist and author for Elite FTS was something I was super excited and very grateful for Sheena and Dave Tate for offering that opportunity for me. Um, so I'm definitely gonna be wearing that Team Elite shirt. I'm pretty proud in fucking June on the platform. Um, but I'm really excited to see the sport grow, and I just hope people can stay open minded because so many things in our culture, socially and outside of lifting, is changing at such a rapid pace that they have to understand that as a lifter and as an official, like you have to take those things into considerations and constantly roll with the updating life culture and also lifting culture to keep your rule books current, to keep your events current, to keep the know about what's happening. And, like obviously, I don't think you've spoken on it. I don't want to say too much too soon. But of course, we're going to be updating a release in June, July ish area for our own rule book, right? We're going to be dropping some stuff that is, in my opinion, extremely important and is going to, offer more opportunities for inclusivity and more opportunities for other lifters to compete who hadn't been able to previously.
Yep. And I think something you said briefly, it's like something that people need to have an open mind on is, and where you will hold yourself back. And this applies for everything in life and business, being a meet director, being a judge, being whatever it is, fitness related or not, where it's like, if you close your mind and you're not being willing to learn and, to hear other people's things, you're going to hold yourself back. You briefly said that with the whole split session thing. I'm doing that exact same thing. I've ran, you know, 15 meets over the 5 years that I've been a meet director, countless meets, but I've never ran a split session meet. Just like you said,
Yeah.
that, right? I've never also ran a USAPL meet. I just became an approved USAPL meet director 5 months ago. My first USAPL meet is in 3 weeks from now. Now, I've been to countless USAPL meets. I hosted, not directed, a USAPL meet when I worked at Hybrid years back. And again, like I said, I've ran countless meets. It's kind of common sense. But I put my ego in check and I wanted to make sure that I did everything perfectly, everything by the book with a different federation that has different standards, even though I read their rule book and whatever it may be. So I'm actually flying out one of my good friends, David Garcia, who's a meet director out in Texas, putting him up at a hotel, flying him out, spending like over $1,000 to have him out here to learn his knowledge and make sure everything's done perfectly well, you know? And any other person might just be like, no, 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 I got this. If you let your ego, get too far ahead of you and you just want to do it anyway. But always being willing to learn and learn from those other people, I think is something that's just very important and a note to take for everything, right?
No, and I think that speaks volumes of you as a person and a meet director that you have that same mindset I do. Like you're never discarding the chance to learn. Like you never think you're too good to learn from other people and be educated and want that for yourself in order to make it a better experience for those lifters. Um, so we just recently lost a group of meet directors in Maryland. I've touched briefly on that in the chat with you and some of the other guys. So me and my buddy Matt are actually forming an LLC as a partnership for travel meets, and our friends Aaron and Eric are too. And we're really excited because we just locked down the entire 2024 calendar already with both our new teams that will be traveling all over Maryland. So I'm super excited for that. But people don't understand the difference between doing like a home base meet as a meet director and then like an actual travel meet director. And I mean, like, there's a big difference, man. Like
Oh, yeah.
one of the oh
That's
yeah,
why I
there's a
only do
huge
that once a
difference.
year for the Ghost Clash, man. That,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. Yeah,
I
it's a
got too
lot
many
more
other
work. It's
hats that I'm wearing.
yeah, yeah, it's a lot, but I mean, people don't understand that. And like, I think one of the biggest things I've noticed and not that I think you, I mean, I personally still do, but I don't know about you. But when I compete, when like the meet's over, like I shake my ref's hands. I shake my meet director's hands. Like whether it was a good meet or bad meet, like it's important to understand that like this shit's costly. This shit takes time out of other people's days. Like they don't have to be here for you, but we do it because we love the sport and we want to see, we love seeing lifters celebrate their first full power meet. We love seeing those grinded third attempts that look like dog shit, but you're so excited about them. Like we love living those experiences with those lifters because like everybody forgets like that used to be you.
Yep.
I mean, every time I see that first attempt, every time I see people like nervous as fuck for that first squat, I'm like, dude, that was fucking us 10 years ago. You know what I mean? So
I
it's
threw
so
up
cool.
so much McDonald's at all my first meets. Could not keep down anything. Vomited
Oh,
before squats, and then I was cruising. Then I was great,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. But I mean, it's cool to be able to, even as a not a first time competitor, obviously anymore, because I think shit. I don't know how many meets you've done, but I think this one coming up is my 24th.
Jesus
Um,
Christ.
yeah, my 24th meet.
I think I've only
So
done 6 or 7, bro, and I haven't competed since 2018. I'm retired.
despite how many surgeries I've had, I've still been cruising on, still competing. So,
Hell
and I
yeah.
mean, not going all out like I used to, obviously, because I'm very committed to the live another day approach
Right.
now in my career. But I love still sharing those experiences with first time lifters. And uh, I don't know if you got a chance to see this yet. We've teamed up with Texas Power Bars, and we've actually done our first charity meet at the Cave, which I'm super excited about. It's called the Texas Power First Timers Meet, and registration and T-shirts are completely free for first time lifters. So we're giving a full sanction of meet. We're giving away bars. We're giving away money. We're having venues. We're having raffles. We're doing all the blown up big shit we do at the Cave, but it's completely free for first time lifters. And we want to try to make that experience as awesome as possible for them.
Yeah, man, I saw that. That is absolutely insane. That is so cool that you're doing that. Give everyone a little bit more details. I know people are going to be fighting to get those spots, but when does that registration
Yeah.
go live? And
It actually went live yesterday. Yesterday
okay,
up on WRPF, and it's live on Lifting Cast as well. The only and we I think this is a fun joke. I'm actually really gonna do it too. So Lifting Cast won't let you do something for free. And so I moved it to a penny, and they also won't let you do it for a penny. So it is a $1 registration fee. That's all you have to pay. And I'm personally gonna bring in an Utz pretzel jug full of $1 bills and
yes.
give every single lifter their $1 back so they can still say it was free.
I love that, man. That is so
Yeah,
awesome.
I will personally hand you that dollar bill back at our meet.
Hell yeah. So when is that meet?
It is March 16th, I believe, off the top of my head. Saturday, March
That's
16th.
2024.
2024 at the Bear Cave. We are moving to hosting 4 a year at the cave, seasonal. And the one in March, we've decided it was going to be the Hibernation Open, but this is our first time partnering with Texas Power, so we really want to do something cool, and they were all in for it. So I'm very grateful for that sponsorship and that opportunity because I just signed my 2 year contract with them 2 weeks ago.
You worked with Mitch?
I did work with Mitch.
Yeah, Mitch is awesome, man. Awesome, awesome.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
supported me in all the hybrid meets that I used to run. The first Ghost Clash, he was super involved there.
Awesome.
They're an awesome company, great company.
Right. So shout out to Doug and Candy for getting me involved and with Mitch, and shout out to Mitch for making that happen on short notice for Texas Power Bar. So I'm super appreciative of them. And then shout out to Zach from State of the Arc Welding. He is doing all my new custom combo racks with for me and Matt for our new travel team called Outlawed Lifting Co. So we're doing up the Western theme, and all our racks are going to be cactus green, and we're going to do some fun shit with that too. So
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. So
I'm
that,
I'm
that
I'm super excited.
that's a perfect segue to close out. So just tell everyone, where can they find you? Where can they find your meet calendar? I know you said you already have 2024 laid out.
Yeah, so I'm working with my two teams with Aaron King and Eric Martinez, who's my other level two, and also my practical issue, who helps me out so much in Maryland, my right hand man. Him and Aaron have their new company coming out called Syndicate that's going to be running a lot of meets for me across the bridge. And then me and Matt are going to be outlawed lifting for our travel meets. And then, of course, we'll have the Bear Cave here, and we already have a webpage for the Bear Cave. So I will be updating the 2024 calendar. It will be posted to both those teams, my personal page and the Bear Cave. You can find me at Papa Bear Rogers on Instagram, and then of course the Bear Cave _MD for our gym page on Instagram as well. And I will be promoting those. And then once we're also going to be taking over the WRPF Maryland page. Doug and Candy have been running it right now, but are about to hand that over to us for Maryland now that we have a couple more positions filled over here.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. Thank you so much for coming on, Travis. I enjoyed here.
Jess is
Hi,
waiting.
Mama Bear.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm done working out. Okay, goodbye.
She's been working out and riding the bike in the background.
Got the cameo, the support
Yeah.
cameo.
Yeah.
Could not do it without a good woman by our sides. That's
No,
for sure.
no,
No,
hell
I
no.
know I would still be a piece of shit and be doing stupid things.
I could not say that would be 100% likewise for myself.
Yeah, man. So I love doing this, Travis. I'm sure we'll run it back in a couple of months. I want to every few months have different staff members on just to keep updating everyone in the Federation. I really enjoyed hearing your story. Thanks for letting everyone know a bit about the Federation. Thank you guys all for tuning in to episode 2 of the WRPF podcast.